with me getting ready to get tier 3 here, you're going to see these living towers get replaced by razor leaves. I'm also going to bring in a few more buildings. Now I've got the power to do it. Tier 3. There's my first razor leaf. I'm going to replace this tower with this razor leaf right here. And I'm also going to replace this tower with a razor leaf. The good thing about this is I don't have to rearrange any of my units or my tower arrangement, as all I have to do is wait for them to get uncharted or ready to root and then destroy the living towers. As you can see there, he's ready to go and he's ready to go there. I'm also going to bring in a Sylvan Gate, which is located right here. Fire affinity. This gives an extra 25 points of damage, or 25% damage to the razor leaves. And as soon as I get the power, I'm going to bring one in over here as well. And as you can see, with you going with tier 3, the attacks are going to get a little bit stronger. But once again, once you get your defenses set up, it is very easy to hold this line. The good thing about the Sylvan Gates are they not only boost the attack strength of your units within radius, but it also heals everything within a radius up to 600, and that's most excellent. Now here you go, having the Twilight Whisperers blind my razor leaf. So this is why you want to. This is why it's imperative to keep units up here on the wall, and so the Twilight Whisperers affect them and not your razor leaf. Come over here, I've got my Sylvan Gate set up. It's within radius of the razor leaf, so the razor leaf is getting the 25%. Also bring in a Wheel of Gifts and put it to the Gift of Strength, which gives it an extra 20% for damage for all my creatures I'm going to use. I'm also going to bring in a Defense and a Rejuvenance as well when I get the mana for it. And as you can see, as usual, the razor leaf is able to hold everything. Now with the Sylvan Gate and the Wheel of Gifts, it puts the razor leaf back to just about the pre-nerf damage output that they were able to do when they had 9 people or 9 members of the root network instead of the 6 that we have now. So I like my razor leaves, I like my root network, and y'all need to bring it back, EA. Okay, I'm now going to start building up enough power to summon in some swamp drakes to take out this base right here. Now the thing with this base is it has a will sapper in it, which is going to paralyze your creatures that you send against it. It's going to paralyze your army. So what you want to try to do is send in as many as you possibly can. In my particular case, I'm going to summon in 7 swamp drakes. The will sapper will paralyze 5 of them. The other 2 will end up taking it out. It's also got some Twilight Archers here, Twilight Slayers, as well as a Skylight Scorcher, Twilight Scorcher, and a Death Glider. So for the most part, that's all the anti-air you got. So here I go creating my army, and I am definitely a firm believer in overkill when it comes to my maps. I also like clearing my maps. But just understand that you don't have to. All the objectives are is just to knock out the Twilight Infestations as well as the Twilight Witches, and you will win the map. I'm now going to send my Swamp Drakes up here. They're going to take out the freestanding mobs. I'm going to come back and I want to wait for my 7th one so I can take on that Twilight Will Sapper. And as you can see, strength is holding, or the defenses are holding up. Even ones that try to come around the corner, they don't stand much of a chance. Defenses over here, Wizard Relief is easily handling them. I now have 7 Swamp Drakes, and as soon as this Twilight Witch right here gets frozen and then passes by, even though my Swamp Drakes could easily take her out, I'm going to charge into this north base. As I said, there you go. Twilight Will Sapper got the majority of my army, but I'm going to take it out with the 2 that were left and then the extras. And then I'm going to take out as much of the anti-air as I possibly can. Now in hindsight, I probably should have taken out the infestation first to stop any more patrols and Twilight Whisperers spawning. However, I wasn't thinking properly apparently, and I didn't. So I take out the Sky Scorcher, which can put a hurting on some Swamp Drakes if you're not careful. I'm going to take out the Twilight Witches, and then I'm going to have another patrol show up. It's going to have Twilight Whisperers on it. So I want to take them out while they try to blind me. Got a couple extra units that didn't get blind, and they're going to end up taking out the Twilight Whisperer. Then I'm going to finish taking out these mobs. And you're going to see that the infestations ends up bringing in another patrol. Like I said, I should have concentrated on the infestation first instead of taking all the trash mobs. But as you can see, the Twilight or the Swamp Drakes really had no problems whatsoever handling any of this. So as long as you had the right numbers, you're doing quite well. Speed this up a little bit. Now I gave a select all command to get my Swamp Drakes out of there, but this one little Swamp Drake didn't get it. So I'm going to have to call the Swamp Drake Council and complain that they're not communicating with all their lessers. And as you can see, the defense is still holding up. It is posing no problem whatsoever for the Twilight that are trying to invade. There, I finally took out my Twilight infestation. And I'm now going to clear out the rest of these guys. I'm going to bring in a Wind Hunter, or Windweavers, to claim these two Parallels. And now the thing about this particular base is the patrols will spawn in here at this Twilight in the northeast. They'll come all the way down the path and then right into your base. So when you actually have this base right here, you need to leave units to defend against it. Now I pulled the mind benders that were right here and that were right here so I could make this base without them attacking it. I ended up leaving one behind and it ended up getting destroyed. So I'm now back down to 4 Swamp Drakes. I'm going to place my Swamp Drakes right here to stand guard while I take my 2 wells. I probably should have taken the power or the orb first in order to get to Era 4 so I can get my Era 4 units, but I didn't. But I will grab the thing just as soon as I have enough power and drop in a breeding grounds right there. How you see here, I brought in my Will of Gifts Rejuvenescence as well as defense. Defenses are holding, not a problem. I now have my 4th orb. I am now bringing in my breeding grounds. If by some chance you're having difficulty getting this 4th orb, once you get your 3rd orb over here, you can use an Ami Monument to manufacture your 4th orb. And that actually makes this map a little bit easier as well because you're not forced to come up in here and get your 4th orb. And then you can start bringing in Era 4 units very early into this map. But for this particular replay, I'm doing straight nature because, as I said, nature rocks. I'm now building up power to summon some Swamp Drake, or better yet, Great Wyrms. And as you can see, defenses are not a problem. They're holding very, very well. I've now brought in 1 Great Wyrm. I'm going to bring in a 2nd Great Wyrm. And 2 Great Wyrms could probably handle this base right here, but I always believe in greater numbers equals greater chances of survival. So I will bring in a 3rd Great Wyrm as soon as I can, and then I'll begin to take out this base. Now you'll see me retreat a lot, and that's just because I was taking my time on this, trying different things, seeing what all I could do. But I could easily knock off probably 15-20 minutes off of this replay if I just kept on going at it, especially now that I'm decent power and I'm able to have my Will of Gifts, Juvenescence, and Surge of Light. I could easily do this much quicker. I have a patrol. I'm going to take out the patrol. And as soon as I take out the patrol, I'm going to start on Twilight Menders here, and then I want to start on this base. Once again, we had Twilight Whisper here, so just be careful with the blinding. I can't say that enough. These things are anti-ranged weapons like you wouldn't believe. I pull my Great Wyrms back, and I'm now going to clear out the rest of this base. As the Great Wyrms do that, check on my defenses to make sure they're still standing, and like I said, nothing's going to get past this defense. I'm going to bring in a Treespirit to claim these 2 wells as I finish off this, and I finish off. Now I only have 4 more. I'm going to bring my Great Wyrms over here, finish off these last couple of Mind Benders, heal up a little bit. You can see you're starting to have patrols merge now, so this is what I was talking about earlier when you can have 4 or 5 Twilight or Vilebloods come at you. Just be careful when you're in your Tier 1 and Tier 2 because sometimes 4 Vilebloods might actually overwhelm this defense. I'm now attacking the base up here, and as you can see, 3 Great Wyrms have no problems whatsoever destroying this. Now you got to be careful on this. Once you go to Tier 4, you'll have Twilight Dancers, and sometimes if you with this wall segment right here still in place, it's a little bit out of range for your Razor Leaf, so what you want to do is just reposition your Windweavers on the flat sections here and allow this one to be destroyed. That'll bring the Twilight Dancers in a little bit closer. I'm now going to move into the center, take out the Bombard as well as Menders, and I'm going to believe I summon in a 4th Great Wyrm and take out that last base. Like I said, I do believe in overkill. That's just my personal playstyle, even though 3 is more than adequate in taking out any of these bases whatsoever. I want to help out my defenses here. I'm now going to fly up here and take out this base right here. Twilight creeps aren't too bad by themselves, but when you have them in mass, especially against something like swamp drakes, they can prove a little bit of a challenge. So just make sure if you're going to use swamp drakes to pull this, which you can and win, as I proved already, just be careful with how you're doing it. Now take out the Sky Scorcher, take out the Infestation, and now I only have 2 left. I believe I bring in a 5th Great Wyrm, because you can't have enough Great Wyrms. In order to do this, I've already reached my population limit, my unit limit, so I ended up killing off a couple of my Tree Spirits to make enough room for another Great Wyrm, but I bring in 2 Living Towers to compensate for that. So that's one thing I like about the Root Network. It doesn't matter if it's an Era 1, an Era 2, or an Era 3 card. They all support the Root Network. I now have 4 Great Wyrms. I'm going to be bringing in a 5th one here, I believe. I want to chase down this patrol. At this particular point in time, I was just really playing around. Like I said, I just wanted to try different things. And as you can see, with a full patrol here, the Razor Leaf has no problems. The Twilight Whisperers are trying to blind the Windweavers, and they're leaving the Razor Leaf alone, so the Razor Leaf can do its thing.
Your forces are under attack.
I've now taken these 2 power wells with the Windweavers, and I'm getting ready to assault up here. Now the thing about this base up here is you can actually leave all of this stuff alone. You don't need to kill it. So if you're running low, just go straight after the Twilight Infestations. Once these 2 bases are cleared or destroyed, then you will win the map, as long as you don't have any Twilight Witches on the horizon. I bring in my 5th Great Wyrm. Overkill is a wonderful thing. And then I proceed to clear out the space. And 3 could probably handle the space, I think, especially with Wolf Gifts. But I wouldn't try it with 2. That might be too much, especially with the Twilight Whispers blinding. And as you can see, I'm just come in here and slaughter everything. Take out this, and you'll see as I take out this infestation, I still have a witch right there, which is now taken out. And this is Nightmare Shard. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you build on it and learn. And if you have any questions about it, please send me a tail end game. Until my next installment, thank you very much and have a good day.